This is the title sequence for The Roses, which came out earlier this year. Hi, I'm Adam Bennett. This is the video shot. The sequence features sketches brought to life on a white napkin texture, with elegant kinetic typography. You're actually hearing a different version of the song which plays over the opening credits, basically because Licked only had this cover. The film uses a different cover by Rufus Wainwright and Susanna Hoffs. None of them are radically different from the original, and I wanted you to get a sense of the vibe. Plus, I paid big money to license this, so let's hear some more. The first thing to say is these illustrations are lovely, and the transitions are fluid and really well animated. They look hand-drawn, and looking closely, it appears each frame is drawn individually. If we toggle between these two frames here, you can see the whole line shape changes. If it's not hand-drawn, they've done an amazing job of emulating the look. The transitions are bespoke and organic. It's beautiful, really. The titles were created by Yu & Co. The concept's been carefully thought through, not surprising for an agency with their track record and experience. You can view the sequence in full with the correct audio on their website. I'll pop a link below. And as they explain, the husband character sketches on napkins, which is an important motif in the film. The typography is inspired by concrete poetry, which, I'm not going to lie, I had to look up. The design is clean and professionally rendered, and the type and illustration work in harmony. In the last episode, I looked at the titles for Play Dirty, and said I thought the style was sporadic, and that some of the illustrations were, to be blunt, a bit ugly. This is what I mean by having a consistent style. There's also real thought behind the scenes. If you're unfamiliar with the film, or the previous 1989 version, or the source novel, the story is about a couple and their descent from picturesque family life to bitter self-destruction. So I don't think having the Thorns animate on last here is an afterthought. It feels like a small, subtle, clever touch of foreboding. I do wonder if this subtitle was a last-minute addition. Hasn't been given the same love as the rest of the text, and just fades on and off. This is classic Hollywood staggered but equal billing. I think it was invented with the Terran Inferno, where Steve McQueen played a giant rock in the ocean and Paul Newman was a helicopter. He later played a car. The man had range. One thing I think this sequence does so well is prime the audience for the themes of the film. Here, for example, we've got the husband creating the couple's dream house while the wife looks on. This is so well animated by someone who knows how to pose and animate humans. Honestly, chef's kiss. By the way, yes, that was the deliberate pun. The wife is a chef, which is represented here. Did I mention the organic look of the drawings looks fantastic? Well, it does, which is why this part stuck out a little bit. It looks to me like the illustrations have been scaled down. If we look at these frames, they're all broadly a consistent width, but here the illustration's smaller, and I think they've had to adjust this circle to compensate. It's a little bit clumsy. These elements feel like good old-fashioned masking out and keyframing, as opposed to the frame-by-frame cell animation here. What I mean by that is to animate these crab claws, they've taken the illustration, which would have been much better quality than this, obviously, and cut it out and animated it probably in After Effects with position and rotation keyframes. Anyway, I feel like such a whiny bitch highlighting this because the whole sequence is so enjoyable. Appealing illustration, playful typography, thoughtful touches, or you could call them Easter eggs. Here, for example, they've replaced some of the letters with raspberries. When you see the film, you'll get it. The song choice is a clever ironic touch. Speaking of which, let's hear a bit more from this guy. I mean, I paid for it.
I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it has to be the only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together.
Okay, I might got a bit carried away there. I just f***ing love this song, even this cover, worth every penny. So, recapping this section that we just looked at, the transitions are on point. Honestly, just lovely work. I do wonder how this would have looked at 12 frames a second though. The film is 24 frames a second, as is the title sequence. But if we go through frame by frame, oh, by the way, a nice little attention to detail touch here, offsetting the text slightly as it moves across the different napkins. You'll see the illustrations are animated on 2s, meaning they change every other frame. But the text is animated on 1s, and because they're putting camera moves on everything, the sequence as a whole is fluid. There's a mixture of frame rates. This isn't a hard and fast rule. You can mix frame rates depending on the look of the animation, but for this, if we force everything to be 12 frames a second, we can compare how they feel.
When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life.
Okay, maybe it's hard to notice the difference, especially when the camera is panning, but I think overall 12 frames a second might look better. But as I say, overall this is a really nice title sequence. The end has a particularly nice touch, with the napkin turning into a rose. It's actually reminiscent of the 1989 version. These titles were designed by Saul and Elaine Bass. If you're not familiar with them, well, firstly, shame on you, but do check out this video where I pay homage. These credits are more low-key than the ones Bass created for, say, Hitchcock films and Anatomy of a Murder, but this transition at the end is genius. We go from elegant shots of presumably bedsheets or a wedding dress, with a nouveau sans serif typeface, to a crossfade of Michael Douglas's lawyer, played by Danny DeVito, who directed the film, blowing his nose into a handkerchief.
You have some valid reasons for wanting a divorce.
It's thematically perfect. I think these titles are just as witty and well thought through. I'd love to hear your thoughts when you watch them. Do you think the text animation is the same level as the illustration, for example? Do you think some parts of the animation are busier than others? And do you think that maybe some of the transitions are more basic? Is there anything you'd do differently? Minor notes aside, I thought this was great and really enjoyed it. I hope this critique was useful.
No.
Thanks for watching. See you again soon.